It's Monday, May 10. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. As the global fight against the COVID-19 pandemic continues, the World Health Organization, WHO, has listed another vaccine for emergency use. The Sinopharm COVID-19 vaccine is produced by the Beijing Bio-Institute of Biological Products Company Limited, subsidiary of China National Biotech Group. WHO's Director General Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus says it's the sixth vaccine to receive validation.
This expands the list of vaccines that COVAX can buy and gives countries confidence to expedite their own regulatory approval and to import and administer a vaccine. The Strategic Advisory Group of Experts on Immunization, or SAGE, has also reviewed the available data and recommends the vaccine for adults 18 years and older with a 2-dose schedule.
He was speaking at a recent WHO virtual press brief. WHO's emergency use listing is a prerequisite for COVAX facility vaccine supply. It also allows countries to expedite their own regulatory approval to import and administer COVID-19 vaccines. According to a WHO news release, the Sinopharm product is an inactivated vaccine called SARS-CoV-2 vaccine Vericel. WHO recommends the vaccine for adults 18 years and older. It is also the first vaccine that will carry a vaccine vial monitor, a small sticker on the vaccine vials that change color as the vaccine is exposed to heat, letting health workers know whether the vaccine can be safely used. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says no Jamaican should have to live in an unplanned or unstructured community. He says his government remains committed to improving and regularizing the housing stock and living conditions of the most vulnerable Jamaicans.
No Jamaican should have to live in an unstructured and unplanned community. But there are vested interests in keeping structured and unplanned communities. What if we had the opportunity to say to a community, and I'm not going to call any community's name because you're going to hear all kinds of criticisms that we are stereotyping communities. But let's say there was a community across from a very critical national asset, such as a hospital, and that community was unplanned. And all the issues that have to do with unplanned communities affecting this national asset, let's say a hospital. And let's say the government decided that we really should, in a structured way, in an equitable and fair and just way, for the national good, say to the persons who are poor, who are living in this unstructured, unplanned community, let us form a partnership. Let us have a social contract about relocating you into better circumstances. Could that be done? I don't think it is beyond us to do it. But the real question is our politics of poverty ready for it?
He says the island's long-standing issue with squatter settlements has to be addressed politically.
I'm not in any way casting blame on the people who live in unstructured and unplanned communities. Far from it. The idea of addressing the problem frontally and speaking about it, even at the risk of being criticized, because within the social dynamic of the country, whenever you speak about issues of poverty, you are being criticized, or you face the risk of being criticized of being unsympathetic. And I think that the greatest trick that has been played on the poor of the country is that and I call it the politics of poverty, is that the people who represent them would never confront them with the issues of poverty. people will stand up in Parliament and say, yes, we agree, there should not be informal, unplanned, irregular settlement, but the next day, go somewhere else and say, no, 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 you should move.
Additionally, the Prime Minister says that while the government is keeping its promise of bringing 70,000 housing solutions to the market, they're also focused on minimizing down payments and making it easier for the average Jamaican to access a mortgage. He was speaking last Friday at the official launch of the low-cost housing design competition at the OPM Media Center. Sunday, May 9, 2021 marked 46 years of Jamaica's European Union partnership. The event was observed with a virtual cultural extravaganza, which aired right here on PBCJ.
Every year on 9 May, the European Union organizes a variety of activities to celebrate Europe Day and raise awareness of the European Union. For the second year, the COVID-19 pandemic prevents us from celebrating this important occasion in a traditional ways. While we are not able to share the same physical space, thankfully, technology allows us to be together virtually. Join us from home and immerse yourself in an hour of culture, information, entertainment, and more. Relax and enjoy a taste of Europe. For Europeans, the Schuman Declaration was a pivotal moment in the history of Europe. This year, we mark its 71st anniversary. The declaration traces back to 9 May 1950 in Paris, when the French Foreign Minister Robert Schuman set out in a speech his idea for a new form of political cooperation in Europe, which would make war between European nations unthinkable. This was the beginning of a peace project that ultimately led to the creation of the European Union.
The EU is the largest provider of grant funding to Jamaica, with a major roster of programs aimed at reducing poverty, eliminating gender-based violence, advancing citizen security, and modernizing the justice system.
In a challenging geopolitical environment, we have realized that more than ever, we need our allies. We need our friends. In order to protect the values and the beliefs that are so dear to us, we have to reach out to those to whom those same values and beliefs are as dear to them as they are to us. And Jamaica is one of those. I've only been ambassador in Jamaica for some 7 months, but that indeed became clear at once. Jamaica, obviously in different degrees, faces similar challenges than the European Union and has demonstrated its commitment to work on them together with us. In many of these areas and in many more, we have worked together, and I am very proud to have noted excellent results. But I'm probably even more proud to have seen that our long-standing relationship has evolved from being one between donors and recipients, between recipients and donors, to one of partners.
Today, May 10, is World Lupus Day. Lupus is a long-term autoimmune disease in which the body's immune system attacks normal, healthy tissue. It can cause inflammation, swelling, and damage to the joints, skin, kidneys, blood, heart, and lungs. The Lupus Foundation of Jamaica, LFJ, will be staging a virtual education and sensitization forum on World Lupus Day tonight at 7 p.m. President of the LFJ, Dr. Desiree Tulloch-Reed, told us all about the event on PBCJ's Morning Coffee Guest Show.
And this is streaming live, it's free, on our social media, on Facebook and YouTube, and it's really for everyone. We're calling it Unmasking the Many Faces of Lupus. Okay, so it's really about, as we said, making lupus visible. We're featuring conversations with lupus warriors, key insights from medical practitioners. We have a virtual tour of our learning center for those who are not able to visit during the pandemic, and highlights of the Lupus Foundation of Jamaica. Our host is Roxine Nickel, and you know, it's free. So register. You can go on our website, Lupus Foundation of Jamaica, or lupusfoundationjamaica.org, and register. If you want to get prizes, you should register, or just turn up. And we are inviting everyone to put on purple. So purple is the symbolic color for lupus awareness. And yes, you're wearing your purple ribbon. We have lots more. We also have nice merchandise for people who want to show solidarity for people with lupus.
Where do we get that merchandise? How can we contact you?
Yes, you can reach us. You can come to our office at 7 Barbados Avenue. That's our learning center, and we have merchandise there. And you can find us online, lupusfoundationjamaica.org. You can even purchase your merchandise online and this is going towards our work, right? The work that we do in supporting lupus warriors.
World Lupus Day is being observed under the theme Unmasking the Many Faces of Lupus. Dr. Tulloch Reid speaks about the challenges of living with lupus, especially in a pandemic.
There are often periods of time when you may go into remission naturally, or it can be induced by the treatments. But the most important thing is always to treat and never to delay. Lupus can really be something that can be unpredictable, can get out of control. And one of the things you want to do is always make sure you're on top of it and work with your doctor to make sure that this is happening, that you're properly monitored and treated. We're talking about a condition that strikes typically at the peak of someone's productive life, when they're studying, when they're starting young families, or when they're developing their careers. And so the impact of lupus goes beyond the individual to the family, to the workplace or school, and by extension to the economy, right, to the society. So lupus is really everybody's business, and we're here about making it known and making lupus visible.
Dr. Tulloch Reid is inviting persons to show support for those affected by the condition by wearing something purple on Monday. Members of the Upper House, or the Senate, paid tribute on Friday to late Senator Ambassador Anthony Johnson. Mr. Johnson died on April 28 at the age of 82. Ambassador Johnson was a former Jamaica Labour Party Member of Parliament, senator, diplomat, economist, lecturer, and ambassador to the United States.
That we pay tribute to a former member of the Senate, Ambassador the Honorable Anthony Johnson, Order of Jamaica. It is especially sad as Ambassador Johnson was the father of our colleague, Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, and the leader of the government business in the Senate. Ambassador Johnson put pay to the adage, a jack of all trades and master of none. He excelled in the many interests that he pursued.
University lecturer, historian, and as I listen to the tributes in the House, I keep hearing of more and more areas that Ambassador Johnson contributed to. We often get up in this Parliament to pay a tribute to a former member, and I've said before, I sometimes think the few minutes that we give is insufficient to really properly honor and acknowledge the contribution. But I'm happy that in the case of Ambassador Johnson, the government found it appropriate while he was alive to honor him with the Order of Jamaica, and I am very happy for that.
A Fulbright scholar, a university lecturer, a diplomat, an author, a politician. Choose any of these accomplishments, but none would give the full picture of Anthony Johnson. He was so much more than any position he ever held.
He could speak on any subject. And my partner who I sat with in the Senate, Senator Neville Clark, sometimes we would say to ourselves, why, I shoot only talk? And then when we consulted the information, we understand that this man had a good sense of the information that he was presenting in the parliament.
As the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries seek to improve the nutrition and health of Jamaicans and secure the island's food security, the spotlight has been placed on a number of go-to crops. Among them are pumpkins. Pumpkins are high-yielding and possess good culinary characteristics to support both the local and export market. More from Marlon Samuels.
Pumpkins can be classified as both a fruit and vegetable. It is nutrient-dense with vitamins and minerals, and almost every part can be eaten. Pumpkins are a main ingredient in a range of dishes, or can be blended to make a delicious and refreshing drink. Scientists say a cup of cooked pumpkin provides more than 20% of the recommended daily allowance of vitamin C. Pumpkin seeds, leaves, and juices are all healthy to consume. Pumpkin seeds are a popular and nutritious snack item. The yellow pumpkin blossoms can also be stuffed and eaten. The leaves are also edible. Pumpkins are filled with potassium, which makes them very good for persons suffering from high blood pressure. Increased potassium intake is also associated with a reduced risk of stroke, protection against loss of muscle mass, and preserves bone mineral density. Pumpkins are also rich in beta-carotene. Recent research indicates that a diet rich in beta-carotene reduces the risk of prostate and colon cancer. It also offers protection against asthma and heart disease, and delays aging and degeneration of the body. It helps to protect you from age-related eye disease. Pumpkins are also a powerful source of fiber, which slows the rate of sugar absorption in the blood. The nutritional value of pumpkins can be taken to the bank. Almost all tropical pumpkins sold in the United States are imported from Jamaica and Central America. In 2020, Jamaica reportedly exported over 245 metric tons of pumpkins. This translates into substantial foreign exchange earnings. There is scope for enhanced productivity through the adoption of improved varieties in the local sector. Best practices in growing the crop can be accessed through the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, or RADA. The Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries has reportedly been focusing on the gap between actual and potential yields. They are eyeing the 5 markets that will help pumpkin farmers, including CARICOM, the Jamaican diaspora in the United Kingdom, Canada, and the United States of America. Whether you're a backyard gardener, a seasoned farmer, or agri-processor, the versatile pumpkin may just be the choice for you to enhance your health or to expand your personal economy. For the news on PBCJ, I am Marlon Samuels.
We now get the latest market details in this quick business report with Gabriel Thompson.
In Friday's trading session, the JSE Combined Index advanced by 6,507 points to close at over 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 91 stocks, of which 44 advanced, 35 declined, and 12 traded firm. The Junior Market Index advanced by 22 points to close at just over 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica, 1834 Investments Limited, and Caribbean Cement Company. Stocks declined for Access Financial Services Limited, Barita Investments Limited, and Blue Power Group Limited. Trading firm were Berger Paints Jamaica Limited, CAC 2009.5% preference shares, and Derrimon Trading Company Limited. Derrimon Trading Company Limited was the volume leader with over 19 million units, followed by Future Energy Source Company Limited ordinary shares with 7.8 million units, and Lasco Distributors Limited with 2.6 million units. In foreign exchange trading for Friday, May 7, the US dollar sold for an average $152.15. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $126.08. The pound sterling traded for $212.95, and the euro sold for an average $184.82. Oil rose on Monday after major U.S. fuel pipeline operator Colonial Pipeline had to shut fuel pipelines due to a cyber attack, raising concerns about supply distribution and pump price increases. Colonial Pipeline on Sunday said its main fuel lines remained offline after the attack that shut off the system on Friday, but smaller lines between terminals and delivery points were now operational. Brent crude was up by 35 cents at $68.63 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude rose by 24 cents to $65.14 a barrel. Both benchmarks rose more than 1% last week, their second consecutive weekly gain. And that's it for this Monday edition of the Business Report Inside the News on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson.
In regional news, we begin in St. Lucia, where despite growing concerns over COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy, government officials say there are no plans to make taking the jab mandatory. Stanley Lothian reports.
St. Lucia is still a long way off achieving herd immunity, estimated to be in the region of 130,000 residents vaccinated. To date, some 25,000 people have been vaccinated, most of whom have only had the first dose. So, like some jurisdictions where the uptake in vaccinations is sluggish, several options are being considered to get the hesitant members of the public inoculated against the COVID-19 causing virus. Health Minister Senator Mary Isaac says the mandatory vaccination option is not on the table.
I don't think so. I think different agencies may require their employees to have the vaccine, to take the vaccine. But government, from a government standpoint, I do not think we would be requesting that it is mandatory that people take the vaccine.
Member of Parliament for Viewfort South, Dr. Kenny Anthony, says vaccine hesitancy is indeed a concern, warning that a new approach to reaching out to the reluctant members of the public is needed.
We have a problem. A very, very serious problem, Mr. Speaker. Because we are not vaccinating sufficient numbers, and this is a potential recipe for disaster. I don't know, and I can't speak for the personal experiences of every member here, but I can speak for mine in relation to my constituency and those with whom I dialogue. The vast majority of persons I speak to in my constituency tell me bluntly they're not taking the vaccine. And I try my best to comfort them. I say, but why are you not taking the vaccine? I have just had my first shot, and those I've had the opportunity to meet since last Thursday. I've had my second shot. And their response to me is, well, you probably need to take it at your age. I said, that is true for sure, but I can't mix with you as much as I want unless I feel a sense of security.
With many people still skeptical about taking the COVID-19 vaccine, some businesses, unlike governments, are adopting discriminatory practices against the unvaccinated, a source of potential legal conflict. Senator Isaac noted that some businesses are pursuing a route that government isn't.
But from a worker standpoint, employer and worker, they may require. I know right now the cruise ships are starting to call their workers back on board, and I will not be surprised if they request that these people take the vaccine. I haven't heard that they are requesting that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
Despite both government and businesses urging people to get vaccinated, the reluctance remains high among much of the population. This situation is setting the stage for another point of division, with the emergence of different treatment for the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. Stanley Lucien for the HTS News Force.
from midnight on Friday, May 7th to May 23. All establishments in Trinidad and Tobago that have been allowed to open at this time will close at 8 p.m. Public transport will be reduced to 50% capacity, and persons should work from home when they can. These are just some of the revisions to the public health regulations announced by the Minister in the Office of Prime Minister, Stuart Young. Mahalia Joseph Wharton has more.
In addition to the restrictions listed by Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, Stuart Young, all construction work is to cease until May 23rd.
This is a large movement of people, and we're asking everyone just put pause until the 23rd of May.
He said the government is asking everyone to stay at home as much as possible. He mentioned some of the sectors are listed as essential and are required to report to work.
The operations of the Judiciary, Magistrate, Supreme Courts of Judicature, Industrial Court, the Environmental Commission, Equal Opportunities Tribunal, Tax Appeal Board. Legal services continue. Sittings of the House of Parliament and meetings of Cabinet or any committees thereof. Sittings of the THA, meetings of the Assembly, any committees thereof. Operations of the Diplomatic Corps. Primary emergency services remain. Of course, our state and private emergency ambulance services, all emergency call centers.
Minister Young said the number of persons gathered at public places remains at 5. And though the regulations were updated to include that all retail and membership discount stores be closed, he said they would be able to remain open.
We've taken a decision that we will allow these facilities, and one of them being PriceSmart, to operate, but only to sell the grocery items and the food and essential services items. We're asking them to work along with us because it's for the safety of persons and at a 50% capacity.
As it pertains to outdoor exercising, this can continue, but not in groups.
So continue to maintain no more than 5, but of course we ask if you could keep it less than the 5, wear your masks. So outdoor exercising, wear your masks.
Further to the changes, the minister said only emergency services will be allowed for things like dentistry and ophthalmology. Unless they are live-in, domestic services are to be suspended until May 23rd. Only emergency services are allowed for auto repair businesses. He stressed that curbside pickup and delivery from restaurants at this time is not allowed. Mahalia Joseph Wharton, TTT News.
In sports, World Athletics chief Sebastian Coe said on Sunday he believes the COVID-19 postponed Tokyo Olympics can be a beacon of hope and optimism despite infections surging in Japan and other countries. A virus state of emergency in Tokyo and other parts of Japan was extended on Friday, less than 3 months before the Games are due to begin. The emergency measures come as Olympic organizers struggle to win over a skeptical Japanese public who fear the Games could spread infections despite a ban on overseas fans and possibly domestic spectators too. But Coe, speaking at an athletics test event held behind closed doors at Tokyo's Olympic Stadium, said he believes the Games, quote, can have a profound impact, end quote, on the world, and moved to reassure the Japanese public that, quote, we take these concerns very, very seriously, end quote. Japan's COVID-19 outbreak remains much smaller than in many countries with just over 10,500 deaths. And in the weather report, the Met Service says there is a trough across Jamaica. It's expected to remain across the island over the next few days. We can expect windy conditions across the island due to the presence of a low-level jet stream. For your information, a low-level jet stream is a narrow band of fast-flowing wind in the lower levels of the atmosphere. This afternoon, we can expect isolated showers across hilly areas and western parishes, partly cloudy elsewhere. Tonight will be mainly fair, but will be windy along coastal areas. And with that, we bring the news to an end for today. As always, thanks so very much for making it PBCJ, the People's Station.